The First World War. In discussing the origins of the First World War, let me start with England and Germany in the 19th century. England was the first country to industrialize, and part of that industrialization process means the ability to produce a tremendous amount of goods. Under capitalism, those goods need to be sold profitably. And so there is the search for markets, new markets. Markets at home may be saturated, the search for foreign markets. Another side of that coin would be the need for raw materials. England had a lot of coal, had no oil, and other raw materials that it lacked as well. The answer to these twin needs of markets and raw materials is what we call modern imperialism. That is to say, taking over other parts of the world which would provide markets for the English goods and raw materials that the industrialization process needed. This becomes apparent in the last quarter or so of the 19th century. England, the first to industrialize, by this time with the most powerful navy in the world, is the first to get to Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, and to get a large share of the colonies of Africa. British East Africa, British West Africa, British South Africa. It gets the lion's share. England is what we might call, in this sense, a satisfied power. We got there first, we got the most, and we're going to hold on to it. And England clearly has the lead over the rest of the industrialized world. But that lead is not forever. Which brings us to Germany. Germany was not a united country until 1871. In a series of steps, you had the expansion of Prussia, led by the Chancellor Bismarck, a series of wars, and by 1871, after a major victory over the French, the Franco-Prussian War, Germany becomes a modern united nation. And it proceeds to take off industrially. Starting later than England, it is starting with the most modern kind of industrialization processes. England is coasting on its lead in certain ways, and Germany is starting to catch up. Industrial Germany will have the same kind of economic problems that England has, that is to say, the need for new markets, the need for raw materials. It will look to Africa for colonies to supply these things. But England is already there, who got the most. Germany got there later, and they picked up some colonies, Cameroon, Togo, but certainly not at the measure of what the English got. So in this sense, Germany is what we might call a dissatisfied power. We are getting nearly as strong industrially as England, and in fact by 1900, Germany is starting to pass England by in certain key categories, such as steel production. But we're not getting our, quote, fair share of colonies. Needless to say, the Africans had nothing to say about any of this, as they were conquered by one country or another. And in fact, the continent of Africa had been pretty much divvied up, not just by England and Germany, but by other European powers, Spain and Portugal and Italy, and others as well. So you have England and Germany on a potential collision course in terms of these issues. What also occurs in the late 19th and the beginning of the 20th century are a series of alliances that are formed. The first of these is called the Entente Cordiale, cordial agreement. Not a formal alliance, but close to that. And the first two elements of what will be a three-part alliance here is England and France. Now, in the 20th century, from our perspective today, England and France have been on the same side in the two world wars, and allies, fellow democracies, and all of that. But it wasn't so obvious at the end of the 1800s. England and France had fought a series of wars over previous centuries. England and France almost came to war over the fight for African colonies.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?